listening.
Perfect.
So you got to get out of Arizona again for a little while, though. Did you stay in California for very long? Did you go anywhere else in California besides
No,
Palm
yeah.
Springs,
I worked at the Desert Sun for 11 months and then got a job at Phoenix New Times and moved back.
Came on back?
Yeah.
Who was at Coachella the year you were there? Anyone memorable?
Kanye.
Ah, okay, sure. Pre-Trump.
Pre all of whatever
all the stuff
the fuck's happening right now.
Between, pre-Spaceman Kanye.
It was shortly after Donda West died. And I cried during his set. I found it very moving. So
he's a lot of things, but one of them is talented. So, I mean...
That's a good description. Yeah.
Coachella is one of those. I just got approved for a pass to the Innings Festival, and that will actually be the first festival period that I've ever been to.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm just not a festival guy. It just seems like I would rather go. It's these. Especially with something like Coachella, it's these huge crowds and the camping and it just seems like I don't know.
The camping's a nightmare. Don't camp at Coachella.
No,
unless you love drum circles.
You know what?
I don't.
I'm a fan of drums and circles separately, but together not so much.
No. Yeah. So Innings Festival. Are you a big Sheryl Crow head? I love her.
I will cop to liking some Sheryl Crow. What was it, Tuesday whatever music club?
Sure.
That I remember liking that at the time, and I actually really like her James Bond theme song. But
okay.
I love Liz Phair is great, and I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, so I'm excited about Eddie Vedder. And then Scott McCoy from -5 and Young Fresh Fellows is there with the baseball project, which also has Steve Wynn from Dream Syndicate. So
there you go.
Yeah, there are some people there I'm excited about.
Do you like baseball though?
You know what I do? I grew up.
I'm interviewing you.
Yeah,
now.
thank
Sorry.
you. Yeah, thanks a lot.
I'm a journalist. I can't help it.
It happens. You're one of those people who they're out of now 100+ recordings of these that I've done. You're one of about 5 people who turns it around. And I let it happen too.
I'll stop.
But yeah, no, I actually, it blows most people's minds who've only known me since being an adult. But I watched sports as a kid. I collected baseball cards. I grew up in Southern California, and the Angels sucked, so I was a Dodgers fan.
Okay.
And so forth. So yeah, I do. I don't follow baseball, but I like seeing a game. So
nice.
Yeah. So New Times, back to you.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was the job that brought you back out? What was at the New Times? What were you?
So the title would have been Night and Day Editor, which is basically like calendar editor.
Yeah.
Things to do. Stuff
out
like
and
that.
About.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds like not a big artistic payoff.
Well, the thing that was cool about it was not only this was my first experience editing people, which I found out was something I really loved doing, but I also got to discover, what was happening in Phoenix on a really granular level.
Sure.
Finding the coolest things that I actually wanted to recommend, and that I keep hitting this chord, and that I felt were worthwhile to bring people's attention to. And that led to developing better sources, meeting different people, learning different things that I never would have been exposed to otherwise. And then also, I was writing for the arts and culture section then too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What year was that, out of curiosity?
That would have been 2011.
And I'm trying to think of, it seems there's a, this comes up a lot as far as there was suddenly a boom of it felt like anyway, different things to do. And so how did you sort of during your time there see that evolve as far as new venues that were coming into play and the feels to me anyway, perhaps just as far as what I was paying attention to, but the expansion and rise of the local music scene and the local art scene in general seems certainly to have grown over the last decade or so.
Absolutely. I think that not only are there more and more professionally run places to present your art, whatever that is, whether it's music or visual art or dance, but people are kind of recognizing each other a little bit more. I think Phoenix tends to really silo itself off. So people in this particular music crew, they all know what they're up to, but they don't super give a shit about what these other people over here are doing. So I think it's gotten better and more connected, and there are certainly more places to do creative things.
Yeah, definitely. The whole, as you mentioned, siloing or you know, like being part of certain camps, it seems like that has definitely gotten better, and there's a lot more cross pollination.
Yeah.
Which I mean, honestly, for the longest time too, it's felt like Phoenix has sort of been a place where people prove they can do something and then move on somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it seems like in order for it to be either a destination town for arts and culture, or for people to hang around, then there really needs to be that sort of you know, cross discipline sort of interplay.
Totally. I mean, a support system, basically, where artists support each other and show up for each other and collaborate. I think that's really powerful.
Well, because there's certainly not enough institutional support to do anything else. But that's a tirade we don't need to necessarily go down. All right, so the New Times, and there's a lot of this sort of connection there, and people that I've now talked to that have all crossed paths with each other at some point. Like from New Times, I've talked to Ashley F. Toole, and I've talked to Jason, obviously, and the Jasons, I suppose.
The Jason contingency.
There's unfortunately the age that I am, which is between 30 and 40, there's a ridiculous amount of people named Jason, and I just wish it would stop.
Less Jasons.
Yeah, there's just too many of them. Yeah. They're all lovely people, but not all.
Probably not all.
I feel like I need to make up for that because I'm hating on the name Jason, and I have some dear friends named Jason, but eventually everybody becomes either known by their last name or some sort of other nickname to differentiate them.
Wait, who does? What?
People that love that does seem to come out of nowhere, doesn't it? But that was following through. Thanks for calling me out on that. The follows through the line of a particularly popular name. So a lot of like, you know, a group of people named the same name, Jasons, and in particular Jasons for some reason. Chris's seem to do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just that's all in my head. That's not a phenomenon at all.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
All me. I'm fully willing to believe that most things that I think are a thing are actually only a thing in my head.
I don't know. I think this is worth exploring, though.
It is. I should pursue grant funding and really do a scientific study of the naming and nicknaming habits of people with a popular name.
Yeah, I like it.
But there's got to be some, you know, how do these as I was starting to name people, so I've already Amy Young and other, you know, people, how do you guys kind of like all? Is there a secret cabal of Phoenix arts and culture journalists that just happen to meet and? Well, you would, right? You would show up and say, "I can do this," and then.
No, exactly. I mean, I'm like, what can I do that? Is that a thing?
We can start it now.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I'm in charge of it. Don't worry about it.
I'm happy to also just hand that off. I'm much more of an idea person than a leader.
Perfect. As established, I love yelling at people. I love telling them what to do. So this is great. I love it.
And I love shrugging and going, I guess this is it now.
You should be on the board, I think.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that. That was silent partner. I'm good for that too, which is ironic running a podcast, I don't know, network thing-ish sort of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, do you guys just all, how does that, how do you must have seen people like come in and sort of have to either begin as a freelancer before getting, as you've brought up, securing a very vaunted full-time, job in journalism is super difficult.
Yeah. Are you asking how to do that? Is that?
No, I'm not asking necessarily how to, but as from the sort of editorial end of things, you must have. I'm sure you've crushed plenty of people's dreams along the way.
Oh God, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be sorry about that either, because a lot of people who think that they're very good are not necessarily very good.
This is true.
So
yeah, no, there's an ego that outstrips ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are usually the most annoying people.
Accurate. Yeah, I don't know. So journalism jobs are certainly few and far between. Now more than ever, it's a shrinking sort of field to try and get into, and it's extremely competitive. And I think if you aren't game, or you don't want to like really put in an intense amount of work,
it's got to take a thick skin too, right?
Yeah. And also, you've got to be tough. You've got to deal with, I'm sure I've been a callous editor at times, or tougher than I intend to be, but I want things to be really, really good, And I think if you're in a position to quality control, then you should be churning out, hopefully, the best stuff.
Well, people that I have talked to when your name, specifically in relation to the New Times, comes up in conversation, have always been that nothing but nice, and been like, maybe it's just the certain people that I'm talking to. I don't know. Maybe there's a Reddit thread out there for haters of Becky Bartkowski. I don't know. I didn't do that much research. That's not that type of show.
I'm gonna look at that later.
I apologize for that.
No, that's fine.
But the and if you see any posts by Jay Duran, it's a completely different person.
You didn't start that subreddit? It's
not me at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never actually even been on Reddit. That's a whole concept that just doesn't connect with me for some reason.
I love it because I get obsessed with certain things.
Okay.
And it's a great place to just dive in and like,
maybe that's the thing that keeps me off, because if I will go down a rabbit hole very quickly and not come up for a long time.
Yeah.
And just tangentially for no reason. Like the other day, I was looking up an album because I wanted to find it on vinyl and I couldn't find it. And then I saw a format that I'd never seen before called a DCC, which is a digital compact cassette that was apparently out for a minute in around the time that mini discs were trying to catch on and all that sort of thing.
Oh man, mini discs. Yeah. We used them at the Blaze.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact.
That was the format that I remember, and it seemed so cool because there were these tiny players and CDs skipped all the time, but mini discs weren't going to skip, and then you could record on them and everything too, and that was before CDRs were prevalent, and this is how I end up going down that sort of thing. So that's why I probably stay off of Reddit.
I think you'd like it. That's what I'm hearing.
Maybe too much.
Yeah.
So if nobody hears from me for the next several weeks, you'll know why. But one of the things was that you are very much have a passion for, like, a determination for what you're doing, that you have that sort of